So I thought I'd record a piece on the whole matter of this Jeremy Corbyn thing and the national anthem, because it seems to have become quite a big thing. They keep mentioning it in the news, the guy hasn't sung the national anthem. I think I've got about one line, which is God Save the Queen. Where I grew up in Glasgow, south side of Glasgow, there was, when I went to school, there were people who were really, really dedicated, and certain organisations that they went to as kids, as young boys. When I grew up, the Boys Brigade, they had a picture of the Queen up and stuff like that. So, it's they probably knew the national anthem a bit better than I did. And just to show how I don't take any sides in these things, because a lot of it goes back to Catholicism versus Protestants, and right, my whole family just didn't have anything to do with that really, except trying to stay out of it, which is not an easy thing to do. Same as white power and black power now. It's almost an impossible balancing act, and in my life I've managed to get myself into both. So there you go. Anyway, orange and green. Okay, so this is me totally not caring, or not caring, but not minding what colour I would wear, because I don't attach it to particular things. But when I grew up, if you had a green car, you must be a Catholic. That was that. It was just taken as read. And that's why I didn't take any view on it, because it was just too inflammatory. It's all about football and fights and all that. Anyway, Jeremy Corbyn not singing the national anthem. So the national anthem, I've got me history here, which is made up from Wikipedia and other things. But here's the verse that would be controversial, should be controversial, and yet has never been officially struck from the national anthem, because the national anthem, God Save the Queen, or King, depending on who's in power at the time. Of course, we've just had the Queen pass as the longest reigning monarch in our history, so well done Elizabeth II. But this verse is controversial because not having an official version of our anthem means you can't expel a certain verse, because you don't have an official version. So unofficial versions, by custom and practice, could become the norm. Here's the verse. It says, "Lord, grant that Marshal Wade," I'm not going to sing it, "may by thy mighty aid victory bring. May he sedition hush, and like a torrent rush, rebellious Scots to crush. God save the Queen." Now, apart from those two lines, "and like a torrent rush, rebellious Scots to crush," it would probably be perfectly singable by lots of people. But there are other lines in other verses that talk about, in general, about crushing opponents and knavish tricks of your opponents and stuff like that. So quite a few Scots could take exception to that. It's only that it's not taken seriously, that they don't, and that it's not really sung, because only the first verse in the national anthem generally gets sung, maybe two apparently, and at a real stretch, three. So verse 6 is never officially sung at functions, and yet it still exists. So all I want to say is, Jeremy Corbyn not singing the national anthem, in some ways it's understandable, because it does say things, and it's never officially been sanctioned for it to say these things, but it does say things that could be considered quite offensive. For example, could you see the national anthem saying, "and in like a torrent rush, rebellious Islamists to crush, God save the Queen"? Okay, so were you to write it now, you wouldn't write it like that. Back in 1745, there's a thing on TV about it was all right in the 70s. Well, in the 1700s, it was all right to write stuff like that. And it was written in the wake of a victory of Bonnie Prince Charlie and a slight failure on the part of Marshal Wade, and all that history is available on Wikipedia. It's just some things really were acceptable, and maybe thinking about it, being sensitive about it. Rebellious Scots to crush isn't specific enough. It sounds like you could mean any of the Scots or all of the Scots or just a little bit of the Scots that are nasty. It's just deliberately on the fence there, so its ambiguity is deliberate, I think. And that's it. That's probably why Jeremy Corbyn, that sort of thing, is why he didn't go singing the national anthem. It is, in fact, if you look into it, potentially quite a contentious, disagreeable piece of work in places. Okay, thanks for watching and listening.